The Houston Rockets are taking over the NBA right now. And yeah, I can't believe I just said that either. But stay tuned to find out the secret to their success. This is going to be a good one, so let's get into it. Seeing the Rockets go on a large winning streak to close out the season definitely wasn't something I had on my NBA bingo card. But if there was one coach I wouldn't bet against, it would be Ime Udoka. He is proof that coaching matters even in professional basketball. There was always this narrative that if you had good enough players, then coaching didn't matter. For example, I used to see people say that Steve Kerr was an overrated coach and he was carried by Steph, Clay, and Dre, when in reality, he was the reason they were able to play so freely, and he was the mastermind behind all of the crazy offensive sets and actions that got Steph Curry open threes. He also just had a great relationship with those three, plus he was a former player, a three-point sniper who probably is the only active coach who could shoot remotely close to Steph, which definitely helped Kerr have so much respect for Steph's game and gave him the green light as soon as he got in the office, something most coaches probably wouldn't have done. But back to Udoka. He completely changed the culture in Houston. Before he arrived, just think about how much drama was going on over there. From the Christian Wood incident, Kevin Porter Jr. incident, and the team in general just being accused of not trying, including Jalen Green, especially on the defensive end. But with Udoka in office, everything, and I mean everything, has changed. I honestly haven't been this excited to watch the Rockets play since James Harden left. And we know how long ago that was in basketball years. I mean, Udoka led the Celtics to the finals in 2022, and one of the best offenses and defenses in the NBA. He's brought that same mindset to this squad, and it's clear he did not come here to rebuild or retool. He came here to win games and get his guys to the top. And as of right now, they are on fire. And that's mainly due to their big three, or four. Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, and Dillon Brooks are the Rockets' dangerous big three. But this starting lineup has been so damn productive as a whole that you could even swap Brooks for Thompson or Fred VanVleet. But as of right now, let's talk about the Sengun, Green, Brooks big three. Let's start with the man, the myth, the legend, Alperen Sengun. This kid is a star. I know he's injured, but he'll be back soon. And of course, this team wouldn't be nearly as dangerous without him. It's looking like he'll be yet another great center in a Rockets uniform. Before this big three, the Rockets had their own big three back in the day with Ime Udoka, Charles Barkley, and Clyde Drexler. And it all began in the summer of 1996 with the blockbuster acquisition of Charles Barkley from the Phoenix Suns. A future Hall of Famer and one of the most dominant power forwards in NBA history, Barkley brought a unique blend of skill, tenacity, and leadership to the Rockets roster. His arrival signaled a new era of championship aspirations in Houston, as the Rockets sought to complement the transcendent talent of Ime Udoka with another superstar presence. Meanwhile, Clyde Drexler, a beloved Houston native and perennial all-star, was already plying his trade with the Rockets, having been acquired in a midseason trade in the 1994-95 campaign. Drexler's silky smooth scoring ability and unselfish playmaking made him the perfect complement to Olajuwon's dominant post-scoring ability, forming a potent 1-2 punch that struck fear into the hearts of opponents across the league. With Barkley, Olajuwon, and Drexler leading the charge, the Rockets went into the 1996-97 season with championship aspirations firmly in sight. Under the steady guidance of head coach Rudy Tomjanovich, Houston stormed through the regular season, showcasing a blend of offensive firepower and defensive tenacity that made them one of the most well-balanced teams you'll ever see. As the playoffs began, the Rockets' big three rose to the occasion, delivering one great performance after another on the game's grandest stage. In a thrilling Western Conference Finals matchup against the Utah Jazz, Barkley, Olajuwon, and Drexler showcased what they could do as a trio, leading the Rockets to a hard-fought victory and a return trip to the NBA Finals. Facing off against the stacked Chicago Bulls, a dynasty led by the legendary Michael Jordan, the Rockets found themselves in a David versus Goliath showdown for the ages. But with Barkley, Olajuwon, and Drexler leading the charge, Houston refused to back down, pushing the Bulls to the brink in a fiercely contested series. And though the Rockets ultimately fell short in their quest for a second consecutive championship, their valiant effort against the Bulls only served to fuel their hunger for redemption in the seasons to come. And as the 1997-1998 campaign dawned, Houston's big three returned to the hardwood with renewed determination and a steely resolve to reclaim their rightful place at the top. However, over the next two seasons, it was clear things were coming to an end. So yeah, the trio was short-lived. And I'm not trying to say that this current Rockets has an Akeem Drexler or Charles Barkley, but at the same time, the way it's looking, they could possibly have something even better. Let me explain. So we all know that Alperen Sengun is is a monster, and he's earned that label at just 21 years old. Yeah, you heard that right. He's this damn talented, skilled, and has a veteran IQ and understanding of the game at just 21 years old. And while he may not be Akeem the Dream Olajuwon or Charles Barkley, he could be just as great if he stays on this path in his very own way. He isn't Akeem or Barkley in terms of ability or play style, but he does play very similar to someone who's already being mentioned alongside those two, Nikola Jokic. And here's where things get really scary. When you compare Jokic's third-year stats with Sengun's third-year stats, you'll start to wonder, are we witnessing a future MVP on our hands? In year 3 of Jokic's career, he averaged 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 50% from the field, 39% from 3, and 85% from the free throw line in 32 minutes. This season, for Sengun, which is his third year in the league, he's averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, while shooting 53% from the field, 30% from 3, and 70% from the free throw line. While there are a couple of things year 3 Jokic was better at, everything else is about the same or better in favor of Sengun. He's just one of those players that's just too damn good at basketball to not be an all-star the next few years. It's becoming more and more apparent that the smartest players in the NBA dominate the league. Nikola Jokic and Luka are the best 2 players in the league because they can read the game at levels only LeBron can, which is also why LeBron is so good at nearly 60 years old. His IQ. You simply can't stop a player whose IQ is through the roof. They're gonna find a way to impact the game no matter what. Sengun might only score 14 points in a game and make up for the rest of the points by dishing out 10 assists and grabbing like 13 or 14 rebounds. However, it doesn't matter how good he is individually. Basketball is a team sport. You need help to win. Boy, oh boy, has Jalen Green been helpful. He's been averaging over 30 freaking points per game over his last 7, shooting around 48% from 3 in this stretch as well. And since I've made the Sengun to Jokic comparison, let's stick to it and say Jalen Green is Sengun's Jamal Murray. Honestly, Green has been better than Murray in this stretch. Not saying that it's gonna last. The playoffs are coming up and we all know what Murray likes to do in the playoffs, but this might be the start of great things to come. If he can continue to light up defenses with his ability to get to the rim and shoot from deep, the Rockets are gonna be taking off, especially since their third man in the trio is Dillon Brooks. He has been a lifesaver defensively. I seriously believe he's the reason Jalen Green is having the best defensive year by far. In an interview, Green talked about how Dillon Brooks holds all of his teammates accountable defensively in the film room and calls out any slackers. Brooks and Ime Udoka have even turned Jalen Green into a potential 2-way star in the near future. Of course, he still has his moments, but from watching him this year, it seems like he doesn't appreciate teams trying to isolate him on an island, signaling that he's a weak defender. Usually in the past, when he was on an island, he would look for help or be in an unathletic defensive stance that screamed, "Attack me." Now, he's sitting down in the chair, moving his feet, and absorbing any contact the offensive player tries to initiate. It's honestly just fun to watch. To further put an emphasis on his recent dominant outburst, here's what Trailblazer coach Chauncey Billups had to say about him. He said this: "I still feel the same about him. He has a chance to be a star in this league. As of late, his ceiling is starting to increase from an offensive standpoint. He's been playing hard and competing on the defensive end, which is where this team has taken the next step. They're the hottest team in the league. I think aggressively, as he is offensively, Rockets needed a player like that. He's always going to attack. He's always going to be an option on the play. He's playing incredible ball right now." Dillon Brooks has been shooting a sweet 36% from deep while upping his efficiency from last season. He shot 39% from the field last year, and now it's up to 43%. And that 36% from 3 is actually his best shooting percentage in the last 4 years. On the defensive end, he's continuing to be a leader, and of course, he's still one of the best lockdown defenders the game has to offer. I don't care what scorer he guards. They will have to work for every bucket. Unless, of course, it's LeBron. All in all, this big three has been playing out of their minds. Hopefully, they can all be healthy and ready to go come play-in or playoff time. Because if they do slip into the playoffs, this is not gonna be an easy team to knock off. I still think they're about 2 years away before becoming a legit threat, but that's not a bad thing. With the way free agents move around, I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to pick up a new piece or two. There will be a lot of solid pieces that can add the depth they need to make a title push. Surrounding Sengun with players like Kyle Anderson, Isaiah Joe, or any elite role player like that could be huge for this squad. But I want to know what you think. How far can the Rockets go this year? And where do you see them in the next couple of years? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.